What's up, Heat Nation? Welcome into another video of the Heat Report by Chat Sports. And today I am going to be talking about Danilo Gallinari and the potential possibility of Miami signing him in the buyout market, what he could bring to the table, and how he would fit with the Miami Heat. I am Nic Rohloff. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because if they do sign someone off the buyout market, which they definitely will be, we will cover you with a video, break that down as well. We also go live for multiple watch parties a week. We're going to be live tomorrow if you're watching this on Saturday, or if you're watching on Sunday morning. We'll be live on Sunday's game against the Boston Celtics. Come join us for a watch party. They are a ton of fun. All right, so the trade deadline passed a couple days ago, and Miami obviously didn't make a deal at the deadline. They made a trade 2 weeks prior, acquiring Terry Rozier from Charlotte in exchange for Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick. And I know a lot of us fans and media members were asking the front office and Pat Riley specifically to make another deal because we felt like the roster could have used an upgrade, whether it be at the 4 position, whether it be the backup center, maybe a little bit of a point-of-attack defender as well. That was probably the biggest need labeled by me personally to defend the opposing guards in the Eastern Conference like Dame, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, and others as well. So they obviously didn't make a move. So we head to the buyout market where a lot of us expected that PJ Tucker was going to be the top option, and I really thought he was going to rejoin the Miami Heat after not playing at all for the Los Angeles Clippers since the month of November closed. Literally has not played a game since November 27th, to be exact. But he's going to stay put in LA. They are not going to buy him out, so Tucker will remain in that Clippers locker room, and he will not be able to sign with the Miami Heat. He would have been able to sign pen to paper with Pat Riley in the 305 because he was making $11 million, which is just under that $12.4 million threshold the Heat have to navigate through. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you didn't see on my last video or just didn't know the rule in general, because of the new CBA rules, shout out CJ McCollum and Grant Williams, teams that are in the luxury tax cannot sign a player on the buyout market that was making more than $12.4 million before they got bought out. So even though Spencer Dinwiddie signed with the Lakers, he was ineligible. Kyle Lowry would hypothetically be ineligible, even though he can't really return anyway. Also, guys like Marcus Morris, they can't sign. Joe Harris, even he was making more than $12.4 million. So the options are limited, and that's why Danilo Gallinari feels like the best option outside of PJ Tucker. Now that we know he is not going to be bought out. And before I dive more in depth to PJ Tucker, as that was a little just like intro segment to the buyout market, if you will, let me know if you want Danilo Gallinari to sign with the Miami Heat. If you do, type Y. If you don't, type N. I'm curious to see. I'm kind of all in. I think it's the best guy on the buyout market to help this team. All right, let's talk about Gallinari now because he's actually been maybe one of the most productive players that has been on the buyout market. Like, he's already constructing meetings. He's 6'10". He's got some length. Now, I do want to temper people's expectations, even if they sign Danilo Gallinari, because people who get signed on the buyout market don't typically have that big of an impact with the team that they sign on. The Heat, and if you want to push back on that narrative, is like, well, what about Kevin Love last season? They signed him in the buyout market, and he's been terrific. They re-signed him. He's been the backup center, stretch 4. He's been great. Well, that's like a type of unicorn, if we're going to be honest. Like, players that get signed in the buyout market usually do not have an impact like Kevin Love had, and especially do not have an impact for as long as Kevin Love has. Like, very rarely do people sign in the buyout market, make an impact, and then re-sign with the team and have a pivotal role. The buyout market players aren't usually that good. Now, Gallinari brings actually a similar skill set that Kevin Love brings, right? Gallinari's 6'10". He's a big man who can space the floor. Not that good of a rebounder, but he's got height to him. 6'10", 233 is his list. He can shoot the rock for sure. Career 38% three-point shooter. He's averaged 15 points per game in his career. Obviously, he's on the backside of this, being 35 years old. So I wouldn't expect Gallinari to come to the table and average double digits, but could he be that 10th, 11th guy on the team that in spot minutes can play 5 to 10 minutes a game, knock down a couple shots potentially if left wide open? Yeah, I absolutely think that can be his role. This season, he's averaging 7.3 points per game, shooting 45% from the field and 35.5% from beyond the arc, so it's a little bit lower for Gallinari. Now, he does have the ability to have a pretty solid game. You just look back a couple weeks ago, I believe, when they played the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been the best team in the NBA over the past month or so. He dropped a 20-piece tender on him. Like, he was very, very good against the Cavs that one specific time. So there are possibilities where he goes off. Now, the question is, would he fit Spo's system? Can he defend? The whole 9 yards, right? Well, he certainly cannot defend. That is not a secret. Is he will struggle, and especially as he approaches his age and end of his career at age 35, like what he's giving you is like offense. Like he's been in the league since 2008, 2009. Like this has been a long career where he has had 2 separate ACL injuries that has taken him out of an entire season. 2014, and then just a season ago in 2022-23, if you remember, he's on the last year of a 2-year contract he signed with the Boston Celtics, who then he tore his ACL prior to the year and didn't play for Boston, and then they traded him in the offseason, part of those hectic trades in that offseason where they landed Drew Holiday. So in Kristaps Porzingis. Like the move, like Danilo Gallinari is definitely lacking in coming off that injury. He's even hurting even more in terms of his lateral quickness, his speed. But I do and am intrigued with the idea of him joining the Miami Heat, because when you think of what Spo could potentially do with some lineups, well, it's very interesting. Like, if Gallinari is your 10th, 11th man coming off the bench, and he's not really playing, right? But say you play a team that's got a double big lineup, like a Boston Celtics, for example, like a Milwaukee Bucks, like a team that has Brook Lopez and Giannis on the floor. Or if you look at Boston specifically, as we do always tend to match up with them in the postseason, so you have to know how you match up with them. They run Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. They run Luke Kornet and Al Horford, Luke Kornet and Porzingis. Now, do they run that double big lineup all the time? No, but having Gallinari could provide some flexibility for Miami, where they can have Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo on the court at the same time if they want to match up big with the Celtics. Or they could do Gallinari and Bam. Or they could do a really intriguing lineup, which probably would be one of the most horrific defensive teams in the NBA, but I am very, intrigued by the offensive possibilities, right? If a Gallinari and Kevin Love tandem in the front court, like you're telling me you have in this specific 5-man rotation, I doubt it would come out this way, but like imagine if you did have Hero, Rozier, Jimmy with Gallinari and Kevin Love at the center. Like you have 2 guys at 6'10" that can fight for boards if you're going against a 2-big lineup. And you could run a 5-wide offense. Like, I know that's not what Spoelstra and the Miami Heat like to do, but you're telling me you could have all 5 guys on the perimeter that are absolutely deadly threats from beyond the arc. Jimmy Butler shooting 45% from 3 this year. Kevin Love, 38. Gallinari, you can't leave him because he's a career 38 3-point shooter. Rozier, his 3-point shooting will come. I think it will. Like, I'm not really too stressed about that as he continues to get into the Miami Heat system. He's had back-to-back days with practices for the Heat for the first time because the 3 days off in between Wednesday's game and tomorrow's game. I expect Rozier to have a good game tomorrow, by the way. Quick tangent. In Miami, got to mentally reset for 3 days before the game, couple practices. I expect Scary Terry to have a big one against the Seas tomorrow. But then you got Tyler Hero too, where you allow the front or the backcourt and Jimmy Butler to have all the space in the world to get to the rim. Like, you load up one side here, you could run a little pick and roll with Gallinari or Love and whatever ball handler you choose on one side of the court. You give them all the room in the world to operate, where you can do a pick and fade, pick and roll, and let Jimmy Butler craft his way to the rim. And there's not really too many people that can clog the paint and contest Butler's shot. And then if you get a defense over-rotating to prevent Jimmy from getting to the rim, well, then you kick it out, and then you could just swing the rock, and you have one of Rozier, Hero, Love, or Gallinari at beyond the arc. So the offensive intrigue is there with Danilo Gallinari. And I will say Pat Riley and this Heat front office has always been like wanting to get their guys, right? And Gallinari has been someone the Heat have targeted for some while now. There's been countless rumors about the Heat and Danilo Gallinari in the past. Like during the free agency before he signed with Boston, there was a lot of rumors that the Heat were going to sign Gallinari. Obviously, he went to Boston, didn't play for them, but there was rumors there. There's also rumors a couple years back that he could be a trade target at the deadline. So there's always have been something linking the Miami Heat and Danilo Gallinari, and I would not be surprised one bit that now he is a buyout player. He's on the market. The Heat have a roster spot. That Gallinari and Miami could finally come together and find a place for him, at least for the remainder of the season. It would not shock me one bit. I'm intrigued by the offensive potential of Gallinari because you could put him at the 4 next to Bam. You could put him next to Love as a 2 big man spacing lineup, which would be very enticing to see how they do that offensively. Well, it'd be pretty rough defensively, though, as I noted. But like I said, make sure you are subscribed, because if they do sign Danilo Gallinari or sign anyone else, we are going to let you know. Came out with a couple shorts yesterday breaking down RJ Hampton being released from the 2-way slot and then filling that role with Alondes Williams, who is a G League All-Star this year, by the way, averaging 20-plus points per game. Has had a 55-point game for the G League Sioux Falls squad. So we'll keep you updated on everything around the Miami Heat. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join us tomorrow for a watch party against the Boston Celtics. Should be a fun one. Go Heat.